station comprising of 36 male officers and 12 women officers. As regards to Part A2 of the question, I'm informed that the current fleet of vehicles allocated to the Lallmatie police station comprises 2 double-cab vans, 1 motorcycle and 2 patrol bikes. Regarding Part B of the question, I'm further informed that Lallmatie police station occupies a surface area of 115 square meters, which includes a charge room, an inquiry room, an exhibit room, administrative officers and barracks. There is also parking space for 3 vehicles. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I'm further informed by the Commissioner of Police that in view of the growing policing needs of the region, action was initiated in 2021 with the Ministry of Housing and Land Use Planning to allocate a plot of land in the same region for the construction of a new police station. However, no suitable site had been secured and discussions are now, they've started again to identify an appropriate location.
Honourable Third Member for Mayberg and Permaillon.
B577, please.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, I'm informed that for the period January 12, 2015 to November 2024, 2 official vehicles were bought for the use by the former Prime Ministers, that is late Sir Anirudh Jagannath, a BMW 760 Li 760 5,972 cc's at the cost of 21,696,486, purchased on the 21st of November 2016. And for Mr. Pravin Jagannath, a BMW 760 Li 760 5,972 cc's, purchased on the 14th of October 2021 at the cost of 19,523,282.01. Both purchases amounting therefore to a total of 41.2 million. Mr. Deputy Speaker, the list for former ministers is a very long list. I suggest, if you agree, I circulate it. But I will, let me just say that a total of 42 official vehicles were acquired for use by former ministers at a total cost of 120 million rupees. Let me also add, the House may wish to note that no new cars have been purchased either for myself or for the Deputy Prime Minister since we took office, in spite of the fact that these cars have broken down.
Yes, you are.
Would the Honourable Prime Minister, by any chance, have the relevant information with regards to the former PPS?
PPS? Yes, I have the information for the form, but I said the list
is related to Prime Minister.
I intend to circulate it if you agree, because it's quite a long list.
Okay. The Honourable Fourth Member for Port Vistons, Mount Island.
Speaker, sir, B578.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, the policies and procedures regarding official mission abroad are contained in Circular Letter Number 10 of 2017 of the Ministry of Finance. As of today, the rates applicable are actually the same as when the Honourable Member himself was Speaker of the National Assembly. If you remember, for a period of 78 days, we took 3 missions, 1 to India, 1 to China, and 1 to Armenia, for a total cost of 748,111 rupees. 3 missions, 78 days. Mr. Deputy Speaker, with regard to Part B of the question regarding the clause of travel in line, it is in line with the existing policy. Ministers are eligible to travel in first class and junior ministers in business class, same as PPS, before the parliamentary private secretaries. As regards transport facilities, whenever same are not provided by the organizers or host countries, our overseas embassies and high commissions normally make appropriate arrangements for officials at the level of ministers, secretary of the cabinet and head of the civil service. When such facilities are not available, then only cars are provided for official use to the eligible officials.
May I ask the Honourable Prime Minister, is it not time, in view of the economic urgency, to review the said rates? You said it rightly so yourself. The rates have remained the same and should be lowered now, because we are asking the population to tighten their belt.
Is it demagogue? This is demagogy. Why didn't you return your money?
May I ask the Prime Minister? May I ask the Prime Minister?
Honourable member, order. Put your question, please. No comment. Put your question.
I am asking.
Put your question, please.
May I ask the Prime Minister whether he will consider making now ministers and junior ministers travel by business class, when we know that an air ticket to Turkey, for example, in first class, is 316,000 rupees. And we know also, may the Prime Minister also consider reducing the chauffeur-driven privilege at the tune of 50,000 rupees per day, which is rented by government for ministers to travel when abroad. Is it not time for the Prime Minister to review those rates? And will he also give the figures as the question was asked?
Mr. Deputy Speaker, this is typical what a demagogue does. He enjoyed all the privileges he's talking about. Now we want us. Now we want us. What do you want?
Next question.
What do you want?
Order.
You must have some dignity.
Order. Next question, Honourable Third Member for Maubank.
579.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, I'm informed by the Commissioner of Police that because you check it up now. From January 2025 to June 2025, a total of 11,331 driving tests have been conducted at the Land Barracks Driving Test Centre. In regards to Part A of the question, around 200 prospective drivers are convened daily for driving tests at Land Barracks Driving Test Centre. However, an average number of 120 driving tests are carried out daily, taking into consideration requests for rescheduling at short notice and absentees. As regards Part B of the question, driving tests, which comprise road tests, parking tests, reverse tests, are conducted from 7:30 in the morning to 1600 hours on weekdays and 7:30 to noon on Saturdays. The appointments for the driving tests during weekdays are scheduled in 6 batches of 30 candidates for cars, motorcycles, and other light vehicles. Furthermore, as from 12:30, driving tests are scheduled in respect of some 20 heavy vehicles, such as lorries and buses. In respect to Part C of the question, a total number of 25 police officers are deployed on a daily basis for the testing at Land Barracks. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I wish to inform the House that driving tests are also carried out daily at 2 other driving test centres situated at Likaze and Kuopip and RG Flat. For the period of January 2025 to June 2025, the number of driving tests conducted at these 2 centres were 9,382 and 7,093. I also wish to inform the House, Mr. Deputy Speaker, that we are bringing some fundamental changes for the issuing of driving licenses. A graduated licensing system is being envisaged, and we will give details later.
You have one supplementary?
Oui, Monsieur le Vice-président. J'ai eu l'occasion de m'entretenir récemment avec quelques moniteurs d'auto-école.
Put your question.
Yes, but I must introduce my question.
No, but whatever you have had with put your question.
Let's
go straight to the
aussi
question.
avec quelques candidats qui ont récemment passé leur examen de conduite. Et ils sont tous unanimes à affirmer qu'il y a un manque d'examinateurs et aussi un temps d'attente beaucoup trop long. De ce fait, je demande au Premier ministre, est-ce qu'il a pris déjà connaissance de cela et est-ce qu'il compte demander au commissaire de police de faire le nécessaire afin de remédier à la situation?
Perhaps, Mr. Deputy Speaker, there is people who do not realize, maybe they don't realize that you can actually apply for a provisional driving license online through the police department website or the e-government portal.
Monsieur le Président, une dernière question, avec votre permission, rapidement. Mercredi dernier, 2 juillet, un incident s'est produit à Line Barracks où une jeune dame, candidate, qui était venue passer son examen de conduite, a été prise d'une crise d'épilepsie qu'on a dû transporter d'urgence à l'hôpital. Justement, par rapport, est-ce que le Premier ministre ne pense-t-il pas qu'il faudrait que chaque candidat produise un certificat médical? Parce que, fort heureusement que la personne en question ne conduisait pas à ce moment-là. Donc, on a pu justement faire le nécessaire et la transporter d'urgence à l'hôpital. Ne pense-t-il pas, Monsieur le Vice-président, qu'il faudrait que chaque candidat qui aspire à obtenir son permis de conduire doit produire un certificat médical faisant état de la bonne santé de la personne en question?
I just mentioned that we are bringing some fundamental measures that will include also a medical certificate.
Honorable First Member for Port with Northport Island.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir. Question 580.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, I'm informed by the Commissioner of Police that Motalong Police Station covers an area of 12 square kilometers with some 18,000 inhabitants. Currently, it is staffed by 52 police officers of different ranks. I'm further informed that Motalong Police Station is classified as a Class C station, having an authorized strength of 37 police officers. However, with the development and expansion of commercial and residential areas in the region, the number of police officers posted to the station had gradually been increased. The personnel at Motalong Police Station was increased from 45 in 2023 to 67 in 2024. The staffing position was rationalized this year so that as from the 3rd of July of this year, the number of officers was brought down to 52. Consequently, 14 police officers were transferred to other units based on the operational requirements of one officer required from the police force. Notwithstanding the transfer of the 14 police officers, there is no shortage, according to the information I have, of personnel at the station, which is adequately staffed, which is felt, and the present strength thereof is sufficient for effective policing. However, Motalong Police Station is also supported by other units, such as, the other units, the Emergency Response Service, the Field Intelligence, the Central Investigation Division, the Anti-Drug Smuggling Unit, and the Traffic Police.
Honorable Fourth Member for Port with Northport Island.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. Sir, B581.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, with the permission, I'm answering question B581 and B595 together. They more or less relate to the same subject. Mr. Deputy Speaker, the House is aware ministers only attend overseas missions when invited. As Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, I have myself been invited, believe it or not, to attend 55 overseas missions to date since I took office in November of last year. Let me give you a few examples. On the very day the results were being proclaimed, Prime Minister of India, Shri Modi, rang me, spoke to me in person, wanted me to come to India for a state visit in December of last year. I had to decline the invitation because I had just been elected. This is going to be programmed for later. Again, President Macron rang me personally to invite me for the reopening of Notre-Dame de Paris Cathedral on the 7th of December. This was attended by worldwide dignitaries, including President Trump and other heads of states of several European and African countries. That also I turned down because I had just been elected. I didn't feel I could go at that time. Third, the Secretary General of the OECD invited me to be the speaker at the forum, Global Anti-Corruption Forum and Integrity Forum in France on the 26th and 27th of March. I also declined that invitation for the same reason. I was also invited to attend the funeral ceremony of late Pope Francis and the ceremony for the election of the new Pope. I also declined. I asked the Attorney General to represent me for the funeral and the Minister David Assia Baden for the election of the new Pope. As Minister of Finance, I did not attend the annual spring meetings of the IMF, the World Bank, and the World Bank held in Washington from the 21st to the 26th of April 2025. In other words, out of the 55 invitations, I only chose to attend 3 of them. And let me say, Mr. Deputy Speaker, that my approval for ministers is given only if these missions, which are considered to be of strategic, geopolitical, or economic importance to our country. I wish to inform the House that I myself led only 3 missions, official missions, as opposed to the 55 invitations. First one was for the African Union Summit in 2025, held in Ethiopia from the 15th to the 16th of February. That was important to attend. Secondly, the 5th Summit of the Indian Ocean Commission, held in Madagascar on the 24th of April 2025. And the third one was the United Nations Conference, Oceans Conference in Nice, to which heads of state and government were invited, which was followed by a bilateral meeting, which President Macron had asked me if he took his plane from Nice to come to Paris for the official, this bilateral meeting, and then went back to Nice. That was from the 9th and 13th of June 2025. As for ministers and junior ministers, a total of 40 official overseas missions have been undertaken from November 2024 to date. The total cost comparisons of these missions amounted to 28,278,224 rupees and 8 cents. This is compared to 196,400,000 for the period 2015-2024. Let me add, Mr. Deputy Speaker, that the total costs for the official overseas missions undertaken by the former Prime Ministers, including airfares and per diem, amounted to 14.2 million in the period 2015 to 2019, and to 16.3 million from 2020 to 2024, which makes a total of 30.5 million rupees. Regarding official missions of former ministers and members of Parliament, the total cost is 109.4 million rupees for the period 2015 to 2019, and 56.5 million for the period 2020 to 2024, which makes a total of 165.9 million.
This one, your question.
Is the Honourable Prime Minister able to provide the House with the list of details of, as requested, that is, the purpose, the composition, and the cost, including the cost of other members of delegation, on the one hand, and secondly, can he also clarify when he's comparing the expenses spent for a mandate with that of his government for 7 months? Is that what he's doing?
There's 2 questions in one, so which one do you want me to answer?
If he would provide the composition, then.
I can provide, but I'm not going to go into that. Then I can compare from 2014, 15 onwards. I will compare all. Okay.
The last question. Okay. You have a question on this? Yes, question.
Thank you,
Detailed information.
Deputy Speaker.
Especially for me.
For you.
Give it.
Your leader is asking a question, please.
The Prime Minister stated that he goes on mission only when he is invited. Does that principle apply to all ministers and junior ministers also?
I just said, Mr. Deputy Speaker, if the Honourable Leader of the Senate listened, I said, ministers don't go, they decide to go to X, Y, Z. They must be invited. I answered that question. We look at it whether there is, whether it is essential for them to go, and what will be the benefit for Mauritius.
Honourable Second Member for Grand Way Putudo.
B582.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, Maubank Holdings Limited had on the 30th of May 2022 appointed the consortium composed of GA Company, SRRL, Gibraltar Advisory, Priscus Finance, and Verde Frontier Solutions as transaction advisor for the disposal of its shares and its subsidiaries. I wish to highlight that Verde Frontier Solutions Limited is currently under investigation by the Financial Crimes Commission for suspected irregularities for the award of contracts from many public entities. They are also the one who published fake polls on the eve of the election to say that they were going to win the election. Mr. Deputy Speaker, the contract between Maubank Holdings Limited and the consortium was vetted by Mr. Yeri Gadou and Ms. Karim, barrister at law. As per the terms and conditions of the contract, the transaction advisor had to, among other things, shortlist qualified bidders, conduct due diligence in respect to the preferred bidder, and prepare the sale and purchase agreement and oversee transaction closing and the transfer of the proceeds of the sale. This is what they were supposed to do. I am further informed that as by the said contract, the transaction advisor was entitled to a fixed sum and a success fee. I must say, Mr. Deputy Speaker, no sale ever materialized. But nevertheless, the consortium was paid a fixed sum of 17,967,436. This is the kind of things they did that today we're in a mess, economic mess that they are. Theft, abuse of power, abuse, dishing out money. This is the result today. No doubt, Mr. Deputy Speaker, there was largesse unseen when it came to favoring Verde Frontier Solutions Limited under the previous regime, but all is being investigated by the Financial Crimes Commission. His contract has been terminated on the 12th of May of this year.
Honourable First Member for La Caverne and Fix.
B583, please.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, I'm informed by the Commissioner of Police that as from December 2024 to the 3rd of July 2025, 58 drug trafficking cases were detected at the ports and airports in Mauritius and Rodrigues. This was joint operations conducted by ADSU and MRA officers. These operations resulted in the seizure of 691.2 kilograms of dangerous drugs. In addition, other dangerous drugs in the form of pills, liquids, seeds, and synthetic gummies were also seized. A total of 64 persons have been arrested in connection with these seizures. In relation to Part A of the question, I'm informed that the total estimated street value of the drugs seized during this period amounts to 1,115,136,222 rupees. So over 1 billion. Mr. Deputy Speaker, with regard to Part B of the question, I'm informed that between December 2024 and the 3rd of July 2025, 17 controlled delivery exercises were conducted by ADSU with a view to identifying local collaborators. 13 of these operations were successful and led to the arrest of 19 suspects. I would like also to reiterate the firm determination of this government to fight the drug scourge, equipping ADSU and MRA with the latest technological tools for combating proliferation of illegal drugs, including synthetic drugs, is a matter of top priority for this government. Provisions have been made in this budget, the last budget 2025-2026, for the procurement of specialized items such as drones, 2 scanners to be installed at Rodrigues, and 1 full-body X-ray scanner at cruise terminal for ADSU and MRA. The government has also set up the National Agency for Drug Control, which will bring together enforcement, rehabilitation, and family support services under one roof. The agency will collaborate with both ADSU and Customs Anti-Narcotics Section of the Mauritius Revenue Authority. The agency is currently developing a master plan which will serve as the national strategic framework for drug use, including prevention, treatment, harm reduction, and law enforcement. The master plan will adopt a comprehensive, evidence-based, and multi-sectoral approach to address the drug-related challenges. Mr. Deputy Speaker, the government is also strengthening its maritime security architecture through regional cooperation, bilateral partnership, and strategic investments to prevent drug trafficking in the high seas. Collaborative initiatives such as the Safe Seas Africa Project, Cut Loss Express, and bilateral engagements with France, and also with the support from Japan for upgrading coastal surveillance, demonstrate a shared commitment to combat transnational threats, including drug trafficking, to ensure the safety and security our maritime domain.
Yes. Let me call your name first. The Honorable Second Member for Rivière Audience.
B584, s'il vous plaît.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, let me remind the House that during the COVID-19 pandemic, the State Trading Corporation had, on behalf of the then government, procured 50 medical ventilators from Pack and Blister distributor and pharmaceuticals, whatever, located in Spain, against an outright payment of 1.8 million euros. The equipment was delivered to the Ministry of Health in July 2020. Upon inspection, it was reported that the ventilators were defective and not according to specifications provided by Pack and Blister and as agreed between the parties. These ventilators turned out to be utterly useless. So the then government had paid 1.8 million euros for defective ventilators while patients in dire need in Mauritius were dying during the COVID. This is what they did. The government you were part of at one point. That Mr. Deputy Speaker, following several representations made to Pack and Blister, the equipment was returned to the supplier in Spain in December of 2021. However, Pack and Blister refused to take ownership of the equipment, and the consignment has been stored in the Freeport zone in Barcelona, Spain. The monthly charges for storage of the defective ventilators is around 800 euros per month. Mr. Deputy Speaker, after consultation with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Regional Integration and International Trade, and the Attorney General's Office, the Ministry of Health and Wellness enlisted the services of a Spanish law firm in March 2023 to start legal proceedings against Pack and Blister to recover the expenses incurred. Notices for non-compliances were served to Pack and Blister in July of 2024, but the latter refused to receive the notices. Meanwhile, Pack and Blister declared bankrupt on the 20th of September 2024 and entered an insolvency procedure. These expenses, Mr. Deputy Speaker, incurred so far for the procurement of 50 ventilators, including the action taken for their return to Pack and Blister and legal fee, this has cost us 98 million rupees for 50 ventilators that people were dying during COVID here. They ordered, gave the money, and it wasn't working. Who? Ask yourself who did this. I wish to reassure the House that no stone will be left unturned to recover the amount, and as such, a case is being lodged before the first instance court in Spain. Also, Mr. Deputy Speaker, in regard to the parliamentary question of the Honourable, I'm informed by the Financial Services Commission that the defunct Independent Commission Against Corruption started an investigation on the procurement of the ventilators, just to show, was a show because the elections were near. They had to show. We were saying in opposition what they were doing. So they started an investigation on the 7th of July 2020, and I'm informed that so far nothing happened to that inquiry. They just said they were inquiring and nothing. That's what they did. Now the FCC is re-inquiring. Already 13 further statements have been taken.
Time is over. Honourable members, the table has been advised that the following PQs have been withdrawn: B586, B594, B589, B591, B590, B588, and B596. The table has also been advised that PQ B602 will be replied by the Honourable Minister of Environment, Solid Waste Management and Climate Change. So now I call upon Honourable Second Member for voting.
Thank you. B598.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, I have to inform the House that in the Government Programme 2025-2029, we announced that a land drainage master plan for the Greens will be commissioned by the Land Drainage Authority. I'm pleased to inform my colleagues that the preparation of a master plan has already been initiated by the Land Drainage Authority in collaboration with the Agence Française de Développement. Following the usual procedure, the contract for the development of the land drainage master plan for Rodrigue was awarded to consultant Hydratec CETEC in March 2025 for an amount of €462,640, about 25 million rupees. A kick-off meeting was successfully held in Rodrigues on 13 March 2025, which marked the official commencement of the study. The scope of services under the contract includes, first, mapping of natural and artificial drainage systems in Rodrigues. Second, development of a master plan for integrated runoff water management and flood risk management in Rodrigues. And thirdly, strengthening the capacities of technical services in hydraulic modeling and all stakeholders in the water cycle on climate change adaptation. Mr. Deputy Speaker, this plan is being prepared recognizing the high exposure with small island developing states like Rodrigues to climate change impacts. The land drainage master plan will consolidate Rodrigues furthermore towards being a resilient island in respect of the risk of flooding. Mr. Deputy Speaker, consultant Hydratec CETEC submitted its inception report to the Land Drainage Authority on 17 June 2025. Same is actually being examined and the final report is expected by end of June 2026.
Yes.
No, I thank the Honourable Minister for this answer. May I ask the Honourable Minister, in the meantime, before the finalization of this master plan, apart the three announced drains of projects in Rodrigues, namely at 80 Pistache Bay Topaz, for this financial year, whether NDU is working on the other LDA-approved projects, mainly at Grand Bay, Mourou, Kakashia, Rivière Coco, and others, for their high-priority implementation in Rodrigues there.
Certainly, it is in the flood management program. So we are working on the other drainage project, depending on the availability of funds, as and when we are going to initiate the projects.
You have a question?
May I ask the Honourable Minister, will the flood-prone map, which is part of the master plan, be made public for Rodrigue in line with the promise that government made, the pledge that it took to make it public, flood-prone maps for Rodrigues and for Mauritius as well. But for Rodrigues, when can we expect same to be made public?
Let us wait for the report first. The report will be ready in June 2026, if you heard well.
Honourable Second Member for Rivière des Anguilles.
B599, please.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, there is no sport facilities or complexes in Conscience number 13 operating under the aegis of my ministry. However, my ministry operates two youth centres, namely at Boischerie and Souillac, in Conscience number 13. The Boischerie Youth Centre houses an indoor table tennis and badminton facilities, while that of Souillac provides outdoor sport facilities such as volleyball, football, and a bolodrome. Concerning part A of the question, the two youth centres have recently been revamped and no upgrading civil works are required. However, I'm informed that the outdoor lighting at the Souillac Youth Centre were defective and needful has already been done. With regard to part B of the question, I'm informed that the Mauritius Sport Council manages and maintains one multi-use game area, commonly known as Muga, at La Flora, comprising a walking cum running track in addition to usual sport facilities normally available on those sites. I'm further informed that the Muga at La Flora is in good condition. There is another Muga located at Tayak, which has not yet been handed over to the MSC yet.
Yes, Honorable.
Yes, but I would like to know where matters stand relative to Muga at Tayak.
Just to enlighten the Honourable Member, the Muga initiative was originally spearheaded by the Mauritius Telecom Foundation and later transferred to Mauritius Sport Council for management on a phased basis. The 10 Mugas under the control of the MSC are La Sousse, La Tokenique, Triolet, Flac, Bel Air, Bovalo, La Flora, Malherbe, Saint-Croix, and Goodlands. The following 3 Mugas have not been transferred to the MSC yet. Those are Muga of Phoenix, Tayak, and Pudo Hamlet.
One last question on this one.
May I know who will manage and maintain the complex at Tayak? Whether your ministry or Mauritius Telecom as it was before?
It's the Mauritius Sport Council.
Yes, Honorable First Member for 7.
B600, please.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I'm informed that there are 2 housing estates at La Valette, Bamboo. The first one, La Valette Integrated Village, comprising 199 housing units, was implemented by the National Empowerment Foundation and completed in 2010. The second housing estate, comprising 223 housing units, and also known as Résidence Camélia, was initiated by government in the context of the rehabilitation of the La Ferme Dam to relocate some 200 families residing in the vicinity of the dam. This project was implemented by the NHDC and completed in June 2024. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, with regards to Part A, I'm informed by the Ministry of Social Integration, Social Security and National Solidarity and the NHDC that there is no unoccupied housing unit at La Valette Integrated Village and Résidence Camélia, respectively. As regards Part B, I'm informed by the Commissioner of Police that 17 intelligent video surveillance cameras and 2 intelligent traffic surveillance cameras have been installed in the region of Bamboo. 3 out of the 17 intelligent VSCs are located in La Valette, namely near Winners Supermarket, La Valette Industrial Park, and the Day Care Center within La Valette Integrated Village. The Commissioner of Police has also informed that in the event of the implementation of the second phase of the Safe City project, consideration may indeed be given to the installation of surveillance cameras at Résidence Camélia, as well as in the other regions of La Valette.
Yes, remember?
I have been informed that there are several houses unoccupied over there, and I will ask the Minister if he can carry an inquiry in regards to those houses, as we have been informed that il y a des barons de drogue là-bas. And those houses are being used as their place of transactions. In Camélia.
Yes, I thank the Honourable Member for the question. Now, if the Honourable Member has information, first and foremost, I'd like him to share it with me in confidence, because I may understand that he doesn't want to put his life at risk by going to the police himself, but I will. So please let me know, and I will try to do the needful. However, from the information I have, none of the houses are unoccupied. However, I will add again, maybe that they are being occupied by people you say, but I will look into it. But please do not hesitate. Give me the information and we'll look into it. I have also received people in the on Wednesdays when we receive our mordant. I've received people from your own constituency who have requested that they be given the opportunity of going or using one of those houses because they feel that they should have obtained one of those houses. I have looked into it to try to do them justice, but unfortunately I've been told that none of them are unoccupied. But I will keep on looking into it to try to do justice to those people.
Honourable Member, the table has been advised that PQB 602 has been withdrawn. Honorable Second Member for Maubank and Parlement.
B601.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I wish to inform the honourable member that the jetty located at Waterfront is owned by Landscope Mauritius Limited and is managed and maintained by the District Council of Campo, given that the esplanade and its auxiliaries of approximate extent of 5 arpents have been invested into the then Ministry of Local Government and Outer Island. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, with regard to part A of the question, the steel jetty has been closed for a considerable period of time due to its deteriorated and unsafe condition. The District Council of Campo has proposed its permanent replacement using reinforced concrete substructure, which will cost significantly less compared to the alternative of rust-resistant inox materials. The estimated cost for this replacement project is approximately 25 million rupees. We will liaise with the Ministry of Environment to obtain the necessary clearance for this proposed reinforcement concrete replacement in line with the prevailing regulatory requirements. As regard to part B of the question, I wish to reassure the House that temporary in-house safety measures were immediately implemented by the District Council to protect pedestrians from any hazard. These measures include the placement of bollards, galvanized pipes and chains along the esplanade to prevent trespassing by motorcycle and to ensure the working space for public use. I am further informed that these works started on the 1st July 2025 and are expected to be completed by the end of July 2025, covering a length of approximately 50 meters. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, as for the permanent work, the implementation of security features across the reserve working space, which includes the maintenance of paving bricks and alleys, lighting, metal structure and handrails, drains and footpaths, and which have been estimated at 10 million rupees. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, it is regrettable that despite a request for financial clearance submitted as for March 2023, no concrete action has been taken by the previous government to resolve this matter. Our government is committed to deliver a practical, sustainable and timely solution. We will ensure that the renovation and security improvements at Waterfront are carried out efficiently for the safety, comfort and benefit of the public. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Can I know from the Honourable Minister, according to the steel jetty, when the works will start?
Deputy Speaker, sir, I already told that estimated cost for this replacement project is approximately 25 million rupees. So we are liaising with the Ministry of Environment to have the clearance, and then we can start.
Okay, clear. Honourable Second Member for Vieux-Gampo and Wolfsbell.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Is question B/603, please.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I'm informed that as a member of the Eastern and Southern Africa Anti-Money Laundering Group, ESAMLAG, Mauritius endorsed the revised international standards on combating money laundering and the financing of terrorism and proliferation issued by Financial Action Task Force, FATF, in February 2012. In this respect, Mauritius underwent a mutual evaluation of its anti-money laundering and combating the financing of terrorism, AML-CFT, systems and procedures using the methodology for assessing technical compliance with the FATF recommendation and the effectiveness of AML-CFT systems adopted by the FATF in February 2013. The mutual evaluation process started in October 2016 and was completed with the publication of the Mauritius Mutual Evaluation Report, MER, in September 2018. The mutual evaluation, which was conducted by ESAMLAG, highlighted the areas of weaknesses in the AML, CFT legal and institutional framework of Mauritius. While Mauritius was rated largely compliant or compliant in only 14 of the 40 FATF recommendations, on the other hand, Mauritius was rated partially compliant or non-compliant with 26 recommendations. Shortcomings were observed in relation to a number of FATF recommendations. In terms of effectiveness, the FATF adopted an approach focusing on a hierarchy of 11 defined outcomes. Mauritius was found to have either a low or a moderate level of effectiveness against the 11 immediate outcomes. The country achieved moderate effectiveness in 4 of the 11 immediate outcomes. Following the publication of the Mutual Evaluation Report in September 2018, Mauritius was placed under enhanced follow-up process in line with the ISAMLAG procedures for mutual evaluation and follow-up process. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I am informed that after the observation period of 1 year, from October 2018 to October 2019, the FATF International Cooperation Review Group, the ICRG, assessed the progress made by Mauritius and considered that since the completion of the MER in 2018, while Mauritius had made some progress on some of its MER recommended action to improve technical compliance, the ICRG determined that not all strategic deficiencies had been fully addressed. Mauritius was therefore placed on the FATF list of jurisdiction under increased monitoring in February 2020 with an agreed action plan to address the strategic deficiencies identified in its AML-CFT regime. Mauritius was subsequently added to the European Union list of high-risk third countries on 7 May 2020, and in addition to mirror the FATF list of jurisdiction under increased monitoring, the UK also included Mauritius in its list of high-risk third countries in March 2021. In fact, as stated in the Mutual Evaluation Report published by the ISAMLAG in September 2018, Mauritius was rated non-compliant or partly compliant on 26 out of the 40 FATF recommendations, with significant shortcomings in risk assessment, supervision, and beneficial ownership transparency. Moreover, the report concluded that the country has a low level of effectiveness in 7 out of 11 immediate outcomes, notably in the areas of understanding of money laundering risk, financial supervision, investigation and prosecution, and implementation of targeted financial sanctions. These findings triggered the ICRG referral process, with Mauritius entering a 1-year observation period. Regrettably, that 1-year period was not optimally used. Instead of marshalling resources and driving through the necessary reforms, the previous government remained passive, allowing momentum to slip away and erode trust in public trust to erode. The international consequences were swift. As the European Commission explained in its official notice on 7 May 2020, Mauritius has strategic deficiencies in its anti-money laundering and counter-terrorism financing regime that pose significant threats to the financing system of the Union. Similarly, the UK, in its 26 March 2021 regulatory update, justified Mauritius' inclusion on its high-risk list by stating, this jurisdiction poses increased risk due to strategic deficiencies in the AML-CFT regime and have been identified by the FATF as requiring increased monitoring. These listings, unfortunately, tarnish the reputation of the Mauritius International Financial Center, created market uncertainty, and placed investment flows and correspondent banking relationship under strain. The damage to our global image and economic prospect was real and avoidable. And the negative image is still prevalent globally until today. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I must add that since I assumed duty as Minister of Financial Services and Economic Planning, one of my priorities has been to sustain the trust of our international partners. While we cannot undo the economic and reputational harm caused, we believe that with decisive leadership, Mauritius can and will uphold the highest international standards. And in response to the continuously evolving AML, CFT, CPF landscape by key drivers such as emerging risks and development at the level of FATF, my ministry has embarked on the following measures aimed at strengthening the national AML, CFT, CPF framework and ensuring sustained alignment with revised international standards. Firstly, participation in ISAMLAG meetings and attending the FATF plenary meetings to keep abreast of development at the level of FATF. Secondly, conducting comprehensive risk assessments to identify and understand emerging risks and take necessary measures to mitigate identified risks. In this respect, the Ministry is currently conducting the money laundering and terrorism financing risk assessment of legal persons and legal arrangement, the terrorist financing risk assessment of non-profit organization, and the first proliferation financing risk assessment of the country. We are also implementing capacity building programs for competent authorities. For instance, my ministry is recently organized an intensive 5-day assessors training which was facilitated by experts from the ISAMLAG Secretariat. We are also undertaking...
Can you conclude, please, if you want to circulate the answer, because...
I've nearly finished, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir. Just one last paragraph.
It has been a long answer.
I just want to add that in parallel, besides working on improving our systems, we are also undertaking a branding and promotional campaign to reinforce the brand image of Mauritius as a jurisdiction of substance and remove any negative perception about the reputation of the country. Thank you.
You have a question even with this clear answer? Yes, come on. I have a question.
Now we know that Mauritius was downgraded by the European Commission in 2020.
Put your question.
Despite the advance warning given, can the Honourable Minister inform the House whether the grey listing had any adverse effect on the business activity in the sector?
Briefly, you have already replied to that, but...
Yes, but in terms of numbers, definitely there was a drop in the number of new global business companies being incorporated during the period 2020-2021 when the numbers went drastically down. Thank you.
You have one question?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. Could the Minister please advise when is the next review of Mauritius due? And what are the strategic deficiencies that you refer to in your question as mentioned by FATF?
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, the next midterm evaluation is in 2027, and the national risk assessment, the second national risk assessment report that we have released recently, and comprises a list of deficiencies that have been identified and on which my ministry is working with all the competent authorities to make sure that the country is ready for the next midterm evaluation.
Okay. Honorable Second Member for Flag Munakai.
B604, please.
Monsieur le Vice-président, avec votre permission, je vais répondre à cette question. On m'informe que de 2016 à 2024, il y a eu une collaboration très étroite, voire exclusive, entre la Mauritius, la MTPA et Maradiva et Maury-Plage, dont M. SR et ses proches parents sont actionnaires. SR, Monsieur Ramdani, Monsieur Sanjeev Ramdani. Cette proximité, Monsieur le Vice-président, a permis à Maradiva Moriplage et Dina Vatam de bénéficier d'un traitement de faveur et de privilèges indus de la part de la MTPA. Par exemple, Monsieur le Vice-président, Maradiva et Moriplage, en partenariat exclusif avec la MTPA, a participé à plusieurs événements coûteux à l'étranger où des fonds publics ont été dépensés sans aucun bénéfice pour la MTPA ni pour la destination mauricienne. Ces événements comprennent, Monsieur le Vice-président, tenez-vous bien, le Royal Ascot, qui est un événement hippique destiné à l'élite au Royaume-Uni. On se rappelle encore du fameux Monsieur SR, habillé comme le duc anglais, à nos frais, cigare en main, s'il vous plaît. La MTPA, avec l'approbation de son conseil d'administration, a participé avec Maradiva Moriplage à cet événement en 2016, 2019, 2022, 2024. Des accords ont même été signés pour le partage des dépenses de participation entre la MTPA et Maradiva. Mais le hic, Monsieur le Vice-président, c'est que, sauf pour 2022, la part des coûts à la MTPA a été versée à Maradiva plutôt qu'à l'organisateur. Pourquoi Maradiva? L'ancien directeur de la MTPA devra s'expliquer. Je dépose, Monsieur le Vice-président, une liste de ces paiements qui s'élève à... Je laisse durer le plaisir, je fais durer... 5 665 591,75 roupies. Et l'honorable membre de l'opposition posait des questions ce matin sur ce qui est vrai. Il est choquant. Il est choquant de constater qu'à ce jour, la MTPA ignore totalement, je répète la question pour ceux qui ont manqué, il est choquant de constater qu'à ce jour, la MTPA ignore totalement si Maradiva a versé ses 5 millions et quelques de roupies à l'organisateur. Elle ignore également si Maradiva a honoré son engagement concernant les 50% restants. La seule preuve documentaire disponible à la MTPA est la confirmation par Maradiva de la réception du montant que la MTPA lui a versé. Monsieur le Vice-président, la Chambre notera également qu'en 2024, l'année dernière, juste avant les élections, la MTPA a envoyé le paiement de son représentant permanent au Royaume-Uni. Cependant, pour des raisons inconnues, le paiement de 25 000 livres sterling a ensuite été reversé à Maradiva. Monsieur le Vice-président,
let's listen to the answer, please. Very interesting one.
Monsieur le Vice-président, l'édition 2024, donc l'année dernière, de la Coupe du Monde de Snowpolo, je ne savais même pas qu'il existait une Coupe du Monde de Snowpolo. L'édition 2024 de la Coupe du Monde de Snowpolo qui s'est tenue en Suisse du 26 au 28 février 2024 est un autre événement qui s'est déroulé en partenariat exclusif avec Maradiva. Selon la MTPA, l'ancien directeur avait, sans l'approbation de son conseil d'administration, réservé un espace pour participer à l'événement au nom de la MTPA et de Maradiva également. Cependant, ils se sont retirés de l'événement au dernier moment. L'organisateur poursuit actuellement uniquement la MTPA pour non-paiement de 2,7 millions de roupies. Monsieur le Vice-président, je suis également informé, la liste est longue, je suis également informé que l'ancien directeur de la MTPA avait versé la somme d'un peu plus de 360 000 roupies pour sa participation et celle de M. SR, M. Ramdani, à la conférence et aux événements du Financial Times Global, qui s'est tenu le 5 février 2020. À partir de sa carte de crédit, de la carte de crédit mise à sa disposition par la MTPA. Ce paiement étant non autorisé, et notamment pour le compte d'un tiers, la Financial Crime Commission a ouvert une enquête à ce sujet. C'est pas fini, Monsieur le Président. Malheureusement, comment la Chambre peut-elle oublier la 13e édition? Ça aussi, je ne savais pas. Comment la Chambre peut-elle oublier la 13e édition de la Maradiva White Party? Et tout cela, c'est l'argent de la population. De la Maradiva White Party, qui s'est tenue en octobre 2024, juste à la veille des élections générales. Au cours de laquelle la MTPA, pour Maradiva White Party, la MTPA a dépensé 450 000 roupies pour faire venir 4 coco-girls danseuses.
Let's listen to the answer, please. Let's listen to the answer.
La MTPA a dépensé 450 000 roupies, je vous disais, Monsieur le Vice-président, pour faire venir 4 coco-girls danseuses de l'Europe de l'Est. De plus, l'identité. Et cela, bon, cela, j'arrive pas à comprendre. Et l'identité. De plus, et l'identité de ces danseuses ont été falsifiées. Et elles ont été présentées comme des journalistes influenceurs médiatiques. Outre ce qui précède, Monsieur le Vice-président, au-delà de ce qu'on entend, il faut bien le dire, Monsieur le Vice-président, c'est l'argent de la population, l'argent du peuple qui a été gaspillé. Outre ce qui précède, ouais, ça, mais les coco-girls, ça a frôlé la prostitution, hein. En 2021, la MTPA a également financé des billets d'avion pour un voyage de presse au nom de Maradiva, encore une fois. La Chambre souhaiterait peut-être noter que toutes les dépenses subventionnées, qui sont hautement douteuses et contestables, font actuellement l'objet d'une enquête de la Financial Crime Commission.
One question before we break for lunch.
I thank the Minister for his extensive reply. C'est clair que la MTPA a été l'agence de voyage personnel de M. SR. I would like to know whether he has the details, whether the MTPA has paid for gala tickets at the St. Maurice Snow Polo tournament, which includes Perrier, je bois pas trop, Perrier champagne, cigar lounge and unlimited champagne bars.
Monsieur le Vice-président, ce que j'ai ici, c'est qu'on parle de l'édition 2024, enfin, c'est pas mon ministère, de la Coupe du Monde de Snow Polo, qui s'est déroulée en Suisse. Ouais, mais c'est sûrement le renseignement de l'autorité, mais sûrement vrai. Merci.
Okay, thank you. I suspend the sitting for 1 hour.